Tonight, on First at 9 this Thursday, the 6th of February 2025. Lofty compensation. Government reveals compensation received by parliamentarians for property damages caused during people's struggle. Over 1.2 billion rupees paid to 43 MPs. Education regulation. Government to create national policy to regulate private education institutes, reveals Prime Minister. AG under scrutiny. President summons Attorney General to inquire about move to release suspects of Lasantha Vikramatunga's murder. Vikramatunga's daughter calls for the AG to be impeached. Power sector reforms. Committee appointed by Energy Ministry to review Electricity Act recommends CEB be separated into 3 state-owned entities. National System Operator to oversee electricity sector planning, procurement and constructions.
Chilo Dairy, Sri Lankawama, Kiren Perata. Obe Vishwasi Dinu Sensodyne, then Langamati Pharmacy in Labagata Hacker.
Kanta Parisankaragatot? Happy Parisan!
Asian Paints Causeway Aquasafe. Vesat Mat doing together at Disney.
This is Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of First at 9, brought to you by Sri Lanka's premium news provider, Derana. I'm Tarindu Mahendra, bringing you the latest in Sri Lanka and from around the world. In your top story tonight, Chief Government Whip Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa revealed in Parliament today a list of 43 former parliamentarians who have allegedly received compensation from the government for property damages during the people's struggle in 2022 and the amount of compensation they received. According to the list, the total amount of compensation received by the parliamentarians is over 1.2 billion rupees, and the highest compensation was received by former Minister Keheliya Rambukwella, which is 95.9 million rupees. On the 9th of May 2022, during former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's tenure, several supporters of the then government attacked anti-government protest sites on Goldface Green, which later sparked a chain reaction of chaotic incidents across the country. During this incident, several individuals caused damage to the properties of then ministers and parliamentarians. In Parliament today, Chief Government Whip Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa revealed the amount of compensation paid under cabinet approval for the property damage.
In
2022, politicians claimed that their property was damaged and they gained compensation from the government for that damage. We saw how during that period, some divisional and district secretariats were pursued into overestimating the compensation. Normally, the maximum compensation that can be given in our country, even in the case of a natural disaster or a complete destruction of property, is 2.5 million rupees. However, no one obtains that compensation easily, although we can see how those in power claim these compensations. Kapila Tukorala, 504,000 rupees. Vimala Veeradisanayaka, 550,000 rupees. Geeta Kumarisinghe, 972,000 rupees. Janakatissa Kuttiarachchi, 1,143,000 rupees. Gunapala Ratnasekara, 1,412,780. Premanath Sidolawatta, 2.3 million rupees. Priyanka Jayaratne, 2,348,000 rupees. Sampatha Korala, 2,540,620 rupees. Jayantha Katagoda, 2,814,800 rupees. Vimal Veeravansa, 2,954,000 rupees. Professor Channa Jayasumana, 3,334,000 rupees. Akila Ellavala, 3,554,250 rupees. Chamal Rajpaksha, 6,539,374 rupees. Chandima Veera Kodi, 6,948,800 rupees. Ashoka Priyantha, 7,295,000 rupees. Saman Priherat, 10.52 million rupees. Janaka Bandar Tennakon, 10.55 million rupees. Rohita Begunawardana, 11,064 million rupees. Sita Aramepola, 13.78 18.8 million rupees. Sahan Pradeepa 17.13 million rupees. Shehan Semasinga 18.51 million rupees. Indika Anuruddha 19.55 million rupees. Milan Jayatilaka 22.3 million rupees. Ramesh Patirana 28.1 million rupees. Duminda Disanayaka 28.8 million rupees. Kanak Herath 29.2 million rupees. DB Herath 32.1 million rupees. Prasanna Ranavira 32.7 million rupees. WD Veerasinghe 37.2 million rupees. Shantha Bandara 39.1 million rupees. SM Chandrasena 43.8 million rupees. Sanath Nishantha 42.7 million rupees. Siripala Gamlath 50.9 million rupees. Arundika Fernando 55.2 million rupees. Sumit Udukubara 55.9 million rupees. Prasanna Rantunga 56.1 million rupees. Kokila Gunawardana 58.7 million rupees. Mohan Pidi Silva 60.1 million rupees. Nimal Lanza 69.2 million rupees. Ali Sabri Rahim 70.9 million rupees. Gamini Lokuge 74.9 million rupees. Johnston Fernando 93.4 million rupees. Kelia Ramukwala 95.9 million rupees. During the people's struggle, these people obtained this compensation by claiming property damage. These 43 politicians have received a total of 1.224 billion rupees. Can you imagine how hard it is for a farmer who report about crop damage, or if an individual who report about property damage due to floods to claim compensation from a divisional or district secretariat? However, these figures threaten state officials and claim this compensation. This is the type of politics that once ruled our country, and we are now changing it. These politicians are getting together to work against these revelations instead of supporting them. No matter what we do, we will continue to implement these changes and deliver justice for the citizens.
මේ දේශපාලන සංස්කෘතිය වෙනස් කරලා ජනතාවට සාධාරණයක් කරන එක අපි නතර කරන්නේ නැහැ.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya informed Parliament that she has directed the Minister of Education to provide recommendations for the creation of a national policy for non-state higher education institutions in Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, a tense situation arose in Parliament today due to the use of inappropriate language by opposition members. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa also took steps to withdraw a statement made against the Deputy Speaker.
පුද්ගලික විශ්වවිද්‍යාල පිළිබඳව ඔබ දන්නවා කාලයක් තිස්සේ ප්‍රතිපත්තියක් හෝ නියාමන ක්‍රියාවලියක් නැතුව මේ පුද්ගලික විශ්වවිද්‍යාල කියන නමින් සහ උපාධි ප්‍රදානය කරන ආයතන හැටියට විවිධ ආයතන බිහි වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒතම මේ ක්‍රියාවලිය පිළිබඳව සොයා බලලා තියෙනවා. වෙනුවෙන් උසස් අධ්‍යාපන අමාත්‍යාංශයේ මෙතෙක් එක යුනිට් එකක් හරහා non state higher education යුනිට් එක හරහා තමයි ඒක සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ. එතන quality assurance ක්‍රියාවලිය පිළිබඳ කමිටුවක් තියෙනවා. නමුත් ඒ කිසි දෙයක් සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ රාජ්‍ය නොවන ඒ විශ්වවිද්‍යාල ශාස්ත්‍ර පිළිබඳ ප්‍රතිපත්තියක් නැතුව. එතකොට හරියට ජාතික අධ්‍යාපන උසස් අධ්‍යාපන ක්‍රියාවලිය තුළ ඇතිවිය යුතු යම් නිර්ණායක තියෙනවා, quality standards තියෙනවා. ඒවා පිළිබඳ පැහැදිලි ප්‍රතිපත්තියක් නැතුව තමයි මේ කමිටුව මෙතෙක් කල ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා මම මේ කමිටුවට දැන් නිර්දේශ කළා තියෙන්නේ ඔවුන් සමග සාකච්ඡා කළා මේ පිළිබඳ අධ්‍යයනයක් කළා. අපි මුලින්ම මේ පිළිබඳ ප්‍රතිපත්තියක් හරියට හදා ගන්න ඕනේ. නියාමන ක්‍රියාවලිය හරියට සිද්ධ වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ සඳහා ඔවුන්ගේ වාර්තාවක් මම ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා.
ජනාධිපතිවරයාගේ විදේශ සංචාරවලදී බිංගිරි අපනයන සැකසුම් කලාපයට ආයෝජන ගේන්න යම් වැඩපිළිවෙලක් විශේෂ අවධානයක් යොමු කරලා තියෙනවා. සියලුම අපනයන ආයෝජන
Actions are being taken continuously to promote all these export processing zones and investment zones during state visits as well as on the ministerial level with the participation of relevant stakeholders. Even in the coming budget, measures have been taken to develop these export processing zones.
ඔබතුමා දන්නවා මේ මොහොතේ ආමන්නෙන් විශේෂඥ වෛද්‍යවරු 3000ක් විතර අපේ රටේ ඉන්න ඕන. හැබැයි දැනට 1900ක් විතර තමයි සේවයේ නියත වෙන්නේ. අඩුම ගානේ මේ විශේෂඥ වෛද්‍යවරුන්ට අනිත් ශ්‍රේණිවල ලැබෙන ඉන්ධන දීමනාව හෝ වෙනත් දීමනාවක් නැත්නම් වාහනයක් ලබා දෙන්න අවශ්‍ය කටයුතු කරනවද කියන එක තමයි අහන්නේ. 2018
According to the approved cadre in 2018, around 2,800 specialist doctors must be in Sri Lanka. As you correctly said, we only have close to 2,000 at the moment. But the vehicle permit is not the only issue. Even during your government, you did not provide the necessary facilities to them. Also, due to the political instability and the loss of hope, many left the country. We are correcting this systematically. We are solving all of these issues of specialists. We are doing our best to obtain their services for the country. The country they were hoping for is being created. From this budget onwards, we will also provide them with the facilities they need.
Yes, Honourable Member.
ඔබතුමා 92 2.
මොකද අංකේ? 92 2 A.
ඒක කතානායකතුමා අහලා තමයි දුන්නේ.
ප්‍රශ්නයක් පොඩයි හරියට 92 කියලා හරියට කිව්වෙත් නෑ අංකේ. ඒක මම මෙහානේ. 92 2 A.
You are the chair of this parliament. Who is this man to speak like this?
Please mind your language, Honourable Member.
Honourable Speaker, he's raising a point of order.
Yes, Honourable Member.
Thank you, sir. Actually, yesterday I called the speaker shame. So then the Dayasiri Karnayaka Mahatma.
When I told the Speaker of Parliament shame, MP Dayasiri asked that to be removed from the Hansard. Now today he is scolding another member like this. Won't that be removed from the Hansard?
Okay, may that word be expunged from the Hansard, please.
Lasantha වික්‍රමතුංග ඝාතනය පිළිබඳව
I would like to ask about the government's actions regarding the investigation into the assassination of late Lasantha Vikramatunga. I will not talk about the incident that has taken place as I feel it may disrupt the courts. Give me a minute. Do not disturb me. I request the government to intervene to solve this issue.
බලන්නට රජය මැදිහත් වෙන්නේ කියලා මම ඉල්ලීමක් කරනවා.
දැන් ඊයේ කෙනෙක්
Yesterday, an MP shouted at the Speaker saying shame. Today, another MP is calling the chief government whip names. Now the opposition leader is telling Speaker to shut up. We are taking this seriously. Honourable Speaker, tell him to either apologise for the statement or withdraw it.
කතානායකතුමනි අපි ඔබතුමාගේ ඉල්ලාසෙන් එක්කම එතුමාට සමාව ගන්න කියන්න නැතිනම් ඉල්ලාස් කරගන්න කියන්න.
Everybody listen to me, I'm the chair here. Honourable Leader of the Opposition, the remark you made insult to the chair. An honourable member who made a statement yesterday saying it's a shame, that was again an insult. I will have to call upon the Sergeant at Arms to remove you from the House. Honourable Opposition Leader, actually I was shocked to hear that word from you. I have so much of respect for you.
If you consider it as an insult to the chair, I withdraw it. I have no problem in withdrawing anything untoward.
පිරිපුන් ජීවිතයකට ඔබ සමගින් පෙරට Union Assurance.
Welcome to Cinnamon Life, South Asia's biggest entertainment hub, where awe awaits.
චන්දුරුසුමේ කාගෙන් මන අපේ සිංහ TV සඳහා සුපිරි ඩීල්.
Sadaharita Plantations Limited, celebrating 22 years of your trust.
Crunchy goodness for hunger on the go.
Responsibility to look after our health.
The best nutritional supplement for diabetic patients with no added sugar. Maliban Vitagen. Stay healthy for a good reason.
Meanwhile, Ahimsa Vikramatunga, the daughter of late veteran journalist Lasantha Vikramatunga, has requested that the government move to impeach the Attorney General following his decision not to pursue further legal action against 3 suspects linked to the investigation into her father's murder. She made this request in a letter addressed to Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya. Meanwhile, the President has summoned the Attorney General to the Presidential Secretariat today to inquire about his decision to release 3 suspects from the case. On the 27th of January this year, Attorney General Paddy in a letter to the Director of the Criminal Investigation Department stated that he does not intend to pursue further legal action against 3 suspects in the Lasantha Vikramatunga murder case, which is pending at the Mount Lavinia Magistrates Court. These suspects include Premananda Udalagama, Tissasiri Sugatapala and Prasanna Nanayakara, who were arrested on charges of threatening Lasantha Vikramatunga's driver, a key witness in the case, and of concealing evidence. Meanwhile, in a letter to Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya, Ahimsa Vikramatunga, the late Lasantha Vikramatunga's daughter, has requested that the government seek the impeachment of the Attorney General. In the letter, Ahimsa Vikramatunga asserts that the facts surrounding last week's developments clearly show that this decision was not an accident, but the result of a culture fostered by Attorney General Derana in the Attorney General's department, a culture of nonchalance, callousness, complacency and utter disregard for their duty to victims of crime and witnesses who risk their lives to uphold the integrity of the justice system. She further stated that during the investigations conducted from 2015 to 2019, the CID painstakingly pursued hundreds of leads and accumulated over 50 volumes of investigative material. Additionally, she emphasised that beyond the Attorney General's neglect of duty and abuse of prosecutorial discretion, it is important to consider the circumstances under which the Attorney General's Department opened a file on assassination cases titled CR1/40/2020. Ultimately, she stated that the Attorney General is accountable to Parliament and the only way to fulfill the government's commitment to reforming the justice system is through impeachment and the removal of the Attorney General from office. Meanwhile, the Young Journalists Association organised a protest outside the Attorney General's Department today, demanding the removal of the Attorney General for his decision to release 3 suspects in the Lasantha murder case. Member of Parliament Mano Ganeshan also joined the protest, and when several protesters were given the opportunity to submit a letter to the Attorney General's Department, the MP attempted to join the group but was opposed. Additionally, President Anura Dissanayake summoned the Attorney General to the Presidential Secretariat today to inquire about his decision to release the 3 suspects in the Lasantha murder case. Attorney General Paddy arrived at the Presidential Secretariat at around 1:45 p.m. today for the meeting, joined by Justice Minister Harshana Nanayakkara. After a nearly 2-hour-long discussion, the Attorney General and the Justice Minister left the Presidential Secretariat at around 4 p.m. The Supreme Court today fixed the fundamental rights petition against the reduction of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa's security detail for consideration on the 19th of March this year. The Apex Court issued the order when the petition was taken up for the first time today before a 3-member bench. The fundamental rights petition claims that former President Mahinda Rajapaksa's security detail was reduced to 60 personnel without a proper security assessment. The Cabinet of Ministers, including Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya, the Secretary to the Ministry of Defence, the Acting Inspector General of Police and the Attorney General have been named as respondents to the petition. The petition was taken up for the first time today before a 3-member Supreme Court judge bench comprising Justices Preeti Padman Surasena, Janak De Silva and Sampath Abekon. Appearing for the respondents, Additional Solicitor General Varunika Hettige requested the court for time to obtain instructions from the respondents and to file objections. Accordingly, the court allowed the responding party to file objections related to the case and also asked the petitioning party to file counter objections if required. Meanwhile, President's counsel Ali Sabri, who appeared for the petitioner Mahinda Rajapaksa, claimed that his client's security detail had been reduced without a proper security assessment, adding that the decision to reduce or increase the former president's security detail should be taken after a formal security assessment. Accordingly, the 3-member Supreme Court bench, which considered the facts presented, ordered the petition to be recalled on the 19th of March to confirm the facts.
Fast-track your career from O-levels with eSoft.
Diabetol, සීනිවලින් පරිස්සම්වන ඔබට අමතක නොවන පෝෂණය.
Prime Group ලංකාවේ ප්‍රථම වතාවට හඳුන්වා දෙන land leasing ලේසියෙන් මීටමක්.
Single 1111 up to 60% off from the 11th November to the 17th of November.
Kalani wire කිසිගින්නක් නැහැ.
කිසිගින්නක් නැහැ. Kalani Fire Shield Wire.
Director General of the Power Sector Reform Secretariat Pubudu Niroshan revealed that the committee appointed by the Ministry of Power and Energy to review the Sri Lanka Electricity Act has recommended that the Ceylon Electricity Board be separated into 3 separate state-owned entities to oversee electricity generation, transmission and distribution. This will be a departure from the current provisions to separate the CEB into 12 entities, some of which were to be privatised. Addressing the media, the Director General mentioned that a national system operator, which will also be state-owned, will be established to oversee planning, procurement and constructions in the electricity sector.
බලශක්ති අමාත්‍යාංශය හරහා පත් කළ කමිටුවේ ජනවාරි මාසයේ 20 වෙනිදා අභ්‍යන්තර
The committee appointed by the Ministry of Power and Energy to review the Sri Lanka Electricity Act on the 20th of January published an internal investigation report on the amendments required to the Act. Stakeholders can submit comments on the concept paper in writing until the 14th of February, either via post by addressing them to the Minister of Power and Energy, number 437, Gold Road, Colombo 3, or via email to the address reforms at powermin.gov.lk. 3 key amendments have been proposed for the Act. Currently, the Act states that the Ceylon Electricity Board will be separated into 12 separate entities, 3 of which will be state-owned, and of the remaining 9, some may be entirely privately owned and others public-private partnerships. However, under the new government's energy policy, 3 separate entities will be established for the generation, transmission and distribution of electricity, which will be state-owned at all times. Additionally, a national system operator, which will also be entirely state-owned, will be established to oversee planning, procurement and constructions related to the electricity sector. Finally, a government trust will be established to provide EPF and ETF facilities for the current and retired staff of the CEB.
දැන් සංශෝධන ගැන ජනතාව කියන්නේ කරුණු තුනයි. එකක් ඇවිල්ලා විදුලි බල මණ්ඩලයේ තියෙන දූෂණ නැති කරන්න කියලා. නිලධාරීන්ගේ හොරකම් නැති කරන්න කියලා. විදුලි බල මිනිස්සුන්ට දැනෙන ගානකට අඩු කරන්න කියලා. ඔය යෝජනා තුන මොකද කරන්නේ?
ඒ තුනම පනතෙන් ගන්තිය ඇතුළේ තියෙනවා. අපි මේ කලාපේ වැඩිම විදුලි බිලක් ගෙවන රටක්නේ.
The Act contains provisions regarding all 3. We are the country with the highest electricity bills in the region. Currently, the average price of a unit of electricity is 13 US cents or 39 rupees. Government's intention is to reduce it to 24 rupees or 8 US cents. Within the next 5 years, government intends to make Sri Lanka the country with the most affordable electricity prices in the region. The Lanka Salt Company in Hambantota has announced an increase in salt prices, attributing the hike to rising costs of imported salt. According to the company, the price of a 400-gram packet of powdered salt has increased by 20 rupees to 120 rupees, while the cost of a 1 kilogram packet of crystal salt has risen by 60 rupees to 180 rupees. However, the company clarified that this price adjustment is a temporary measure. Adverse weather conditions that affected salt production during the final quarter of last year resulted in a decline in local salt production. In response, the government approved the temporary importation of 12,000 metric tons of salt from India to address the shortfall. However, the State Trading Corporation has assured that salt imports will not be a long-term solution. Local salt production is expected to resume at the Hambantota Salt Works by March, ensuring a steady domestic supply. The Lanka Salt Company has also assured that prices will be reduced once the new harvest becomes available. Meanwhile, the Paddy Marketing Board said government-owned warehouses will be kept open from today for the purchase of paddy from farmers. However, it was reported that no farmers had sold their stocks of paddy to the Paddy Marketing Board today. Government yesterday officially announced the certified prices at which the Paddy Marketing Board will purchase paddy from farmers. However, the chairman of the Paddy Marketing Board, Manjula Pinnadala, stated that no farmers had sold paddy to the board today. Meanwhile, farmers claimed that they were unable to sell paddy to the warehouses of the Paddy Marketing Board as they were not prepared to receive their stocks. In the meantime, large private mill owners have also begun to purchase paddy, with some reportedly paying 5 rupees more than the certified price for all varieties of paddy. Meanwhile, Sri Lankan professor Neelika Malavige has been appointed as the president-elect of the International Society for Infectious Diseases, a global organization dedicated to advancing research and responses to infectious diseases. Professor Malavige is expected to assume the presidency in 2027 for a 2-year term. A professor in the Department of Immunology and Allied Medical Sciences at the University of Sri Jayawardenepura, she holds a medical degree from the University of Colombo and a doctorate from the University of Oxford. Professor Malavige has made significant contributions to the field of infectious diseases, particularly in COVID-19 testing, sequencing and identifying various strains. Her research has been pivotal in understanding the molecular epidemiology of SARS-CoV-2 in Sri Lanka. Additionally, Professor Malavige has extensively researched dengue pathogenesis, and her work has been instrumental in advancing clinical trials and understanding the disease's molecular mechanisms. In recognition of her research, the Elsevier Stanford rankings listed Professor Malavige among the world's top 2% of scientists. Welcome back. Sri Lankan Airlines has unveiled an artificial intelligence-powered chatbot for customer support named Derana. Derana integrates advanced AI and natural language processing technologies to help with a range of passenger inquiries. Head of Worldwide Sales and Distribution at Sri Lankan Airlines, Dimuthu Tennakon, revealed that Derana has handled close to 12,000 inquiries and has autonomously resolved 88% of them. The customer support chatbot was developed in collaboration with CodeGen International and is now available on Sri Lankan Airlines corporate website. The new chatbot is programmed to operate on multiple languages, including English, French and Spanish. January 2025 has set a new record for the highest number of tourist arrivals in Sri Lanka in a single month. According to the latest report of the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, 252,761 tourists arrived in Sri Lanka during the month of January this year. In comparison, 238,924 tourists visited the island in January 2018, while 208,253 arrived in January 2024. India remained the top origin for tourists in January 2025 with 43,375 arrivals. Russia recorded the second highest number of tourist arrivals with a total of 34,096. A significant number of tourist arrivals was also recorded from the United Kingdom, China and Germany. The Colombo Bourse made a comeback today after yesterday's historic losses and closed in positive territory as a result of price gains in counters such as Sampath Bank, DFCC and City Holdings. The All Share Price Index climbed 0.31% to settle at 16,506.73 points. Meanwhile, the S&P Sri Lanka 20 climbed 0.52% to end at 4,923.29 points. Market turnover stood at 5.1 billion rupees. The banking sector was the top contributor to turnover, followed by the capital goods sector. Foreign participation in market activity remained at subdued levels, with foreigners closing as net sellers, offloading shares worth 489 million rupees. And that's all for tonight. Thank you for joining and have a good night.